YouTube, welcome your beautiful faces back to another video. Now, in today's video we've got something a little bit different. I am going to be going over all the main lines in the Ruy Lopez, okay? All the main moves, all the tricky traps, everything you need to know. And I'm going to try and do it in about 10 minutes time, okay? It might be a bit over because there's a lot to go over. But for your convenience, no one wants to listen to me for 45 hours, okay? So in around 10 minutes. If you go on to enjoy this video, smash that like button, subscribe if you are new. Let's jump straight into this. Okay, so if you are completely new to chess, the Ruy Lopez starts with e4, e5, knight comes out to f3 to attack the e5 pawn, knight goes to c6 to defend, and then we play this move bishop to b5, attacking this knight. This is actually the most common opening in chess on chess.com's database for white. This is the most reached position in any opening. Pretty crazy stuff. There's so many lines we can go into here. Black has a couple of things to address, okay? So this knight is obviously being attacked. That's one thing that needs addressing. This pawn is also being threatened, not by that arrow, by this arrow, okay? So there's a couple things white can do here. There is this line with a6 known as the Morphy defense, okay? And what it aims to do is to maybe drop your bishop back or drop your bishop back somewhere. Just put a bit of pressure on this bishop. And then there's also a line with this move d6, okay? Just completely being solid in the center. If a6 comes first, you just drop the bishop back to a4, okay? You want to keep pressure on this diagonal, okay? Very important. And then they might play the move d6, just covering all their bases, being ultra solid in the center. In this position, you have a couple of moves. You can just develop your knight, but I prefer castling. Just be ultra solid. There's no threats on your king. Everything is safe. Here they might play the move b5, and so really kicking your bishop back. But there's a lot of lines in the Spanish where you have your bishop on this sort of Italian diagonal, and you can set up things like the fried liver in some stages. Obviously you can't jump your knight here now because the queen would of course just take, but there are lines we're going to explore where this sort of fried liver attack is actually quite feasible, so stick around. Now, the most common move here is bishop to g4, which is fine, but it's not as solid as black can be, okay? In this position, we're almost +1, okay? We just want to ask a question of the bishop, okay? We want to know, do they want to take or do they want to go back? If they take, well then you obviously take back with your queen and you set up this checkmate in one with the queen and bishop, okay? Very solid, very tricky for black. More commonly though, they're going to go back, okay? Keeping pressure on this diagonal. But this is a huge mistake, okay? And you might be wondering, how the hell is this a huge mistake? Well, it's actually because you can take on e5. Crazy move. It's a brilliancy, okay? The bishop and queen now stare at each other, okay? So if you don't take the queen, we're going to take the bishop, okay? So the bishop kind of has to take. And then we give this check, okay? Only move for the king is to come here because the knight defends both of these squares, so the king has to step forwards. But then we give a fork, attacking the king, attacking the queen. They pick up the bishop, we pick up the queen. When they take the knight, we take the bishop, and we're up 2 pawns, and this is a completely winning endgame. So let's say hypothetically, right, black doesn't go into this line of bishop to g4. Well, they can just play knight f6 and be ultra solid. I mean, you can see the center is very secure. Both knights are developed. And you might be thinking, how the hell does white even progress here? Well, the best move, I think, is c3, okay? Engine does also agree. And the reason this is such a nuanced brilliancy, is what I'm going to call it, okay, is because it stops the knight from jumping forwards. But we're also preparing d4 to just strike open in the center. Okay, reinforced by the knight, by the queen, by the pawn on c3. But yeah, we're stopping this knight jumping forwards, preparing the move d4. Now, you might be thinking, well, hang on a minute, this pawn is just completely hanging. Well, we actually kind of want them to take it, okay? And you might be thinking, why the hell? Well, this is a blunder, okay? And you might be thinking, well, we can bring the rook to e1 to attack the knight. No. Just bishop d5, okay? And you attack both knights. You cannot defend both knights at the same time, so you're just going to be up a full piece. And you're also putting pressure on this rook, by the way. I mean, my arrows aren't drawing, but you're putting pressure on this rook. So now instead of playing c3 in this line, stopping the knight jumping forwards and preparing the move d4, we can actually play knight to g5. And you know, earlier in the video I said we can set up some fried liver attacks? Well, this is now the time, okay? And the only way black can salvage anything in this game is the move d5, okay? Everything else loses, every other move. So black has to be so precise. d5, the only move that keeps the game equal. Then we take this pawn, okay, because we're just threatening this knight, so gaining a tempo. And if the knight takes on d5, we have another brilliancy, okay? Another beautiful trap. We take on f7. We completely sacrifice a knight. And if king takes, queen goes to f3. The king has to go back. You just take this knight, and you're threatening through this diagonal, okay? So if the knight jumps forwards to attack the queen maybe, you might be thinking, well, we just pick up the rook. No. Just checkmate. So let's say our opponent doesn't play a6 immediately kicking our bishop. Let's say they play the move d6, okay? Just being ultra secure in the centre, so much more solid line for black. Well, we can just strike open in the centre very aggressively. This is a more aggressive line. It's very forcing. Black has to be extremely accurate. You could just go ahead and get castled if you want a more solid game. But I like the more aggressive approach, okay? We play d4. If they take, well, then we actually take back with the knight. And you'll notice black has a lot of pressure on this knight, and they cannot take because of this pin. So the bishop comes to d7 to reinforce the knight. And then we just play knight to c3, sorry. Just continue our development. And here, black will likely go for some sort of trade. So they might pick up the knight. You take back. When the bishop takes, you take back with the knight. And then they might just play knight f6, just continuing their development. But this is actually a huge mistake, okay? It's the most natural looking move because, like, find a developmental move for black. Like, obviously you're going to jump this knight forwards, but it's a huge mistake. And you might be thinking, how the hell can just one knight move be a huge mistake? It's because of e5. It's because of e5. Like, what can you do here? You don't want to move your knight back to where it just came from, so you take. And then white takes with check. And we're also giving a double attack on this pawn, okay? So, I don't know, let's just say they block with a queen. Well, you actually give a check on c7, forking the king and rook. When the king moves, you take the queen. So obviously if they can't take the knight, if they just moved over, we'd be up a full queen. So they take the queen back, and then you take the rook. And this is just a completely winning endgame. So let's say in this position, instead of the move d6 being ultra solid in the centre, let's say they play knight to d4. Okay, this is known as the bird's defence, so it puts a lot of pressure on your bishop. Well, you're actually going to take the knight. When they take back with the pawn, just get castled, okay? Just be ultra solid. Most common move here is a6, kicking your bishop back. And I know normally we'd go back here, but they no longer have a knight to keep pressure on. So we actually go back to c4, putting pressure on this whole new diagonal. And, I mean, the most common move here is bishop to c5. You can't really move this knight out because we just push the pawn. So it's very tricky for black. So let's say bishop c5, most common move. This is a huge mistake, again, because we sack a bishop. And when the king takes, we play queen h5 check. They might block with g6, and then we just pick up the bishop. Okay, and I don't know, we're just completely winning. So let's say instead of bishop to c5, they just play b5, putting more pressure on your bishop. Well, this completely opens up your rook, okay? So you might be thinking, okay, let's play bishop d5, put some pressure on. But that's not going to quite do it for us, okay? We're going to take on f7 anyway, okay? And when they take back, queen goes to h5. Block, we give this check, forking the king and the rook, and we just pick up a full rook, okay? Completely winning for white. Unstoppable, okay? So this is what you play against the bird's defense. So I've shown you a lot of traps, okay? I've shown you a lot of tricky openings. I've shown you all the best moves for white, the most common moves for black, how to counter them. But let's say you're more of an advanced player, okay? And you're looking to hit those upper echelons of chess, okay? Well, this line is for you more advanced players, okay? This is concrete play for black and how to challenge it. So obviously bishop comes to b5, a6, Morphy defense. Best way to respond if you're black, really. Bishop goes a4. They bring the other knight out to f6, so completely solid play for black. Nothing is hanging yet. There's no unbelievable sacrifices I'm about to show you. We just play d4, okay, striking in the centre. We could, of course, just get castled, play knight c3, but we like the more aggressive approaches on this channel. So d4 striking out. When the e-pawn takes, we're going to go ahead and castle, okay? So they're up a pawn, but don't worry, we're going to win it back pretty quickly. We're going to play the move, or they're going to play the move, sorry, b5, dropping our bishop back to this beautiful diagonal in which we quite like, okay? Remember, we like these fried liver attacks, we like these Italian bishop setups. They'll play bishop c5, reinforcing the pawns to try and maintain their advantage, okay? They took a pawn, they want to stay up a pawn. We play e5, okay? Trying to kick this knight away. So they play knight to g4, okay? You cannot go, say, knight e4, because after queen e2, there are no moves for this knight. There's nowhere this knight can go without being captured. So they have to go knight to g4. c3, okay? And you might be wondering, why are we giving up another pawn? Well, when they take, we actually play queen d5, okay? And the reason we play queen d5 is because we're setting up checkmate, and we're also threatening this bishop. Okay, so the only move is queen e7. This guards both of these threats, okay? Knight takes on c3, so we just develop another piece. They short castle, bishop g5 attacking the queen. Now the queen has to move, okay? It has to move away from the defense of this bishop, because if you played here, we'd take with the pawn, so you can't stay on this diagonal, okay? So the queen has to go back, we pick up the bishop, okay? So guys, these are all the lines in the Ruy Lopez. This is everything you need, okay? Do not watch this video while you're in a game. That is cheating, okay? But watch these videos. Go do some practice lessons on chess.com or something. Try implement it into a game. Do some game review. I don't know how close we are to 10 minutes. Hopefully we are close. If you enjoyed, if you learned anything, smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. And guys, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.